Good morning. It's Tuesday, January 6th. Today marks 5 years since, at the request of Donald Trump, who was at that time the President of the United States. I know he is again, but I'm saying he was the sitting president when he orchestrated this. A violent mob attacked the Capitol. They did it for Donald Trump, who pointed them in the building's direction. Told them, in fact, that he would go with them. Will be wild. He let them riot for hours, let them hunt Congress members, steal from and desecrate offices, brutally attack police officers. When he finally asked them to stop, he did so by telling them he loved them. And he must have meant it because on his first day back in office, he pardoned all 1,583 rioters. It was actually the second insurrection that he led after losing the 2020 election, the first, of course, being on paper, as he attempted to overturn the results just by straight up asking these states to find missing votes. January 6th was and remains one of the darkest days in our nation's history. And then we re-elected him. Talk about wild. And now, the news. We start with Maduro in court. Venezuela's Nicolas Maduro made his first appearance in court on Monday. You will be shocked to hear he has decided to call himself innocent. Como se dice, he is lying. Él está mintiendo. FYI. I don't know a lot of Spanish, and I feel like my pronunciation was trash, but that is how you say he's lying. Not only that, and this is important here, he said that he is a, quote, prisoner of war. This matters because he is saying that Saturday's raid was not the law enforcement action that the Trump administration continues to say that it was, but instead, he says it was a military action. Now, as a prisoner of war, according to the Geneva Convention, there are a few things that he would be entitled to, so that's why this matters. First of all, prisoners of war cannot be held in close confinement unless it's necessary for their safety. They don't get sentenced like a normal criminal would, where the judge says, like 10 years or life or whatever. They would usually be released at the end of the conflict. And here's the most important part, they do not face any personal accusation of guilt. Going back to that confinement part, Maduro and his wife are currently being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. Conditions there are famously horrific. About 1,300 people are also being held there. Very bad conditions, very small conditions. I think I am fine with him being there. But if this prisoner of war, that doesn't quite match up with what the Geneva Convention says that a prisoner of war is able to be at. On Monday, Speaker Johnson backed up the Trump administration's defense. What else is new, am I right? That there is no military operation in Venezuela, and therefore the administration was under no obligation to ask the Congress for permission from that pesky constitution, saying, quote, "We are not at war. We do not have U.S. armed forces in Venezuela, and we are not occupying that country," end quote. Interesting. Tricky, that language, because Trump did say the reason that Pete Hegseth is allowed to blow boats out of the water without offering any evidence at all that they are carrying drugs is because we are in an armed conflict with drug cartels. So that language is genuinely going to be tricky to parse. But either way, Trump is fine with it, so his little best buddy Mike is also fine with it. Who's not fine with it? And hang on, before I continue, let me be very clear. I'm not saying Maduro should still be in Venezuela. He is very bad. Bad. Two things can be true. It can be good that he is gone, and also the way in which it was done can also be bad and needs to be condemned. I'm not like, oh, we didn't do it correctly, and so Maduro should go back. I'm saying good that he's gone. Now that that's done, we need to condemn the way that it was done. I just want to be clear on where I stand on all of this. which is that absolutely, unequivocally, don't send him back. But also, the State Department, this is why we have to also condemn the way that Trump did it. The State Department, you're familiar, posted on Twitter on Monday, quote, "This is our hemisphere, and President Trump will not allow our security to be threatened," end quote. Uh-oh. We, just to be really clear, we share our hemisphere with a lot of people. Actually, other countries, many countries, including some that Trump has his little ojos on. Greenland, for example. He's back on the I need Greenland for, you wouldn't understand, she goes to another school reasons. He is threatening Colombia, telling reporters on Sunday, quote, "Colombia is very sick too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States. And he's not going to be doing it for very long, let me tell you," end quote. So when I say Trump's actions need to be condemned, it's because now they're like, oh, the entire Western Hemisphere, dibs. On Saturday, he referred to something called the Monroe Doctrine. And I just know that he didn't know what the Monroe Doctrine was. He didn't know that, but I know somebody felt so clever bringing it up. And I hate that. The Monroe Doctrine basically told Europe, don't come here anymore. The Americas are our area. And in return, the United States will not interfere in European wars or politics. Apparently, this is what they have been using for justification for intervention in Cuba, Nicaragua, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. The Monroe Doctrine was basically, we stay out of your yard if you stay out of ours. This is, hey, give me your yard. It's different, and it's dangerous. And so saith an emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council, with the deputy French ambassador saying it, quote, chips away at the foundation of international order. And I just want to remind you that France, that's where the deputy French ambassador comes from. That's an ally. And that is who is condemning our actions. This doesn't look like, we don't look great right now. So we'll see what today brings. And let's talk about something else now. Effective immediately thanks to a man who chopped the head off of a dead whale for fun, and I can't stress this enough, and then we don't know what he did with the head. The CDC will stop recommending that every child be immunized for rotavirus, influenza, meningococcal disease, and hepatitis A. Instead, the doctors will only just be able to hope, like really, really hard. No, they will recommend that babies and kids get the shots if they are high risk or if the doctor recommends it. I think my favorite part about all of this is that I don't like any of it. I'm just I don't like anything, but if I have to pick a favorite part of something I don't like, is that Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. cursed sentence said that this will restore trust in public health. How? Do you know what? You don't know what trust means. You're a conspiracy theorist, and you're the one that is leading the charge on this. You offered to eat 5 brainworms. Nobody was like, do it. That was your suggestion. You are not exactly a picture of health yourself. And I do believe, I'm not even kidding, I'm saying I do believe that even your Raven friends tried to talk you out of this. They were like, caca, don't do it. I don't know what that is. In related news, the United States is at the highest level of respiratory illnesses since the 1997 to 1998 flu season. In a statement, Public Health Commissioner Dr. Robbie Goldstein said, quote, "This is a moment for clarity, urgency, and action," end quote. Oh, Dr. Goldstein, perhaps you are thinking of a different country. We don't do those things anymore. So that's been your Medical Minute. In Minnesota, Governor Tim Walz announced that he will not seek re-election as he continues to find himself at the center of the state's frog scandal. I don't know why I thought that was so funny when I wrote that joke, but I did. Fraud scandal. Fraud scandal. Here's what's happening. Like the show. In 2021, there was an investigation into a series of multi-million dollar, possibly multi-billion dollar schemes. Those investigations led to 62 convictions. Now, yes, most of the people that were convicted are of Somali descent. And I'll tell you why. It's because Minnesota happens to have a large Somali population. It's not because people of Somali descent are more likely to do crimes. It's just that the people who lived there did the crimes, and some of them happened to be of Somali descent. But remember, it was investigated. There were convictions. Not good enough for Trump, though, not when you're doing white supremacism. Years after these convictions, now he has turned his attention back on the Somali community to say that they're all doing fraud, and it is all going to an Al-Qaeda affiliate in Somalia. So that's already going on. Meanwhile, some yokel YouTuber went to youtube.com, home of Here's What's Happening and frankly, What Else Do You Need?, and put up a video alleging that there are all these daycare centers in Minnesota taking public funds but not providing care. Now, what it sounds like is that those daycare centers just didn't let some Yahoo stranger come in and film kids. Because when CBS News investigated, they found no recorded evidence of fraud, and out of the nearly dozen daycare centers in that YouTube video, all but 2 have active licenses. Not only that, but the state says that they will investigate regardless. Either way, Kristi Noem was like, this YouTube video is good enough for me, we gotta shut down the whole state. No, but she did send Homeland Security agents to the state for what she is calling a, quote, massive investigation on childcare and other rampant fraud, end quote. Because of a YouTuber. So amidst all of this, Governor Walz has announced that he will not seek a third term. See? Frog scandal. And that's it. That's the news. I'll tell you who I'm proud of. I'm proud of people who did not storm the Capitol on January 6th. Do you understand how easy it was to not do that? The day after Trump was elected the second time, I was distraught. Could not believe it. You know what I did? I got myself a speeding ticket. Not on purpose. That was it. On accident, I got myself a speeding ticket. Didn't storm anything. Took the ticket, paid it, moved on. Sort of. The speeding ticket is still in my car as for the memories. I'm also just proud of people who didn't vote for him after that. He did insurrection. I will never understand how that was not the end of it for people who claim to love this country. I'm proud of the Capitol Police who defended the Capitol that day, who put themselves between the rioters and our elected officials and their staffers and their family members. Don't get me wrong. This moment right now is not a great moment for us, for our country, but we could have been a different country, a completely different country, if the rioters had gotten their way on January 6th. They didn't, and it is only because of those police officers. I am also proud of shortbread, because it's National Walker's Shortbread Day, and I certainly can't, after all of that, be like, but more than, and because you understand that, and because you also pair well with tea, I'm proud of you.